Big thanks to Super7 for sending this one out. Check them out in links in the description, along with links to buy. Turtles, Dragon Ball, Kaiju, and more. Steven's Toy Reviews. Hello there, collectors. It is Steven here, and welcome to a review of Super7's Wave 2 of their Ultimates Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle releases. And today we're going to be taking a look at their Leonardo, the leader of the bunch. You know him well. He's finally back to kick some shell. And it is going to be the blue turtle here. And quite frankly, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and be one of those guys. He's my favorite. And with my favorite, I'm going to be a little biased because I like Leo. I like the swords. He's pretty cool. But that doesn't necessarily sway me from whether or not this guy is going to be a good figure. So let's take a look to see whether or not this Playmates tribute is going to be worth adding into your collection. By default, out of the box, I got to say that Leo looks pretty dang cool. He's gonna look a little beefy with some veins running all along his arms. He's gonna have nice, well-defined muscles on his legs. The default head sculpt is clearly a throwback to the original release Playmates figure, which we all know and love. He's gonna have a little bit of battle damage to the shell and plastron, which is cool. Yeah, generally speaking, I do think that Leo looks good. And let's go ahead and take a closer look while I give it an overdub, shall we? This is basically going to be a new paint scheme for the body that we saw on Raphael, with some minor changes here and there, so this way we can actually recreate Leo and make it a bit more accurate instead of just making it a one-to-one. Why? He's not going to be using the sai. He's going to be using his katana, which we will see in the accessories section. Generally speaking, I do think that Super7 knocked this one out of the park with a couple of minor quality control issues here and there related to masking that you can only really see with macro photography. Every once in a while you may see a paint drip out of line, but it's not that big of a deal. When we take a closer look, we again can see really well-defined veins on his arms. We can see that the nails are very well sculpted. He does have some scratch marks on his pads that are going to be on his arms and his legs. Very, very cool. Generally speaking, Leo's going to get a nice pass for me. If you have Wrath, then you know how Leo moves, which is a good thing. However, I will say that in my experience, Leo moves a little nicer. I did have to use a little bit of heat to get the joints to move flawlessly, I would say. But once I was able to get it going, I'm not really having any problems. So what do we have? Well, the head, it moves around very nicely on a ball joint, so we can spin it around, because the neck is going to use a very long barbell style joint. So we're going to have a ball joint in the head and one that plugs in down here on the neck, which allows you to move the head around kind of like that. Very, very good. Also, it's very easy to swap heads with this figure, which is cool. Shoulders are going to be a swivel hinge, so they swivel around like that and they hinge up. That's going to be your T-pose there, which is pretty cool. We do get a dedicated bicep swivel, which is nice. We get an elbow hinge, as you can see there. And then also, we get a little bit of a swivel action there. I think you can push it a little bit more than that, but because of the pad there, I don't really want to push it. It kind of feels like I'm getting too much resistance there. For all of the wrists, we are going to get them on pegs and hinges, so they are going to swivel around. For the default hands that we get, they do hinge this way and that way, though we do get alternate sets of hands and they do hinge in and out like that. So you are going to get some nice combination of hand movement there. So we do have some articulation here in the main body. Do we have anything up top here? No, we really don't, but we do have ball joint movement down here at what would effectively be the waist. So you can see that the pelvis is moving there, which is pretty cool. Not a whole lot, but it's nice in there. For the hips, we have swivels. We go out about that far, and we do have hinges, as you can see there, and we go out that far, so Leo can do the splits, no problem. We do have dedicated thigh swivels. We do have knee hinges, just single, along with swivel. And then we do have dedicated ankle rockers, which these are a little tight on mine, but they do move nicely. So they move that far forward and back. And then, of course, if you really want to get fancy, you can spin the foot around, which is cool. I would say that I do think that double hinges at the elbows, and the knees would be great. I would prefer different hip design, but generally speaking, I think Leo moves just fine. And the fact that we get some articulation there in the shell is pretty cool. So yeah, Leo moves, I'd say, just fine enough. You can get him in some fun poses. Time to talk about accessories, and some of these may look familiar if you have RAF or Shredder, but hey, more accessories are always good, generic or specific. We are going to get an alternate head part, which is going to be new for this release, which is cool. It's Super7's own interpretation. We are going to get alternate hand parts, which we talked about in the articulation section. We are going to get an open and closed turtle communicator, pizza slice, 2 of his signature weapons. We are going to get the Kama? K-A-M-A? Not quite sure what that is. This is the first time I'm hearing of it. We're going to get 2 fist daggers, and we're going to get 2 ninja stars. We are also going to get an unpainted weapons rack, which is once again a throwback to the original Playmates release. So let's go ahead and take a look at that brand new head sculpt from Super7, which looks very cool, has a nice attitude about it, and quite frankly, I do like this one a bit better. Not really a huge fan of the original Playmates release head sculpt tribute that we have, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just my personal preference. That's going to be the one that I display with Leo on the shelf. Taking a look at his communicator and the pizza here, cool. Very nice. He can go ahead and call up his favorite pizza shop or communicate with his brothers, so this way, hey, they can get together and eat some pizza together, which is nice. All right, let's talk about the weapons there. We're going to take a look at the Kama, the fist daggers, and the ninja stars, which those alternate hand parts are going to be used, so this way he can hold his weapons and throw the weapons too, if that's something you are interested in doing. Now, unfortunately, there's no real way to display Leo with throwing the weapons right out of the box, so if you do need support stands, I do have a video to help you out with that. Now, the detail on all of the accessories here is very, very nice. The paint is rather clean. Things like shiny metallic paint, like silver and gold, can be rather difficult to execute well, and quite frankly, I do think Super7 did a rather nice job here. Not perfect, but it is good. Not really goopy, not really scratched, just good. Good. Now, overall, I do have to say that the accessories are just fine, and especially with the price point, you can't really ask for too much more, except that one thing that I really do hope, we do have all of the turtles announced, we have all of the accessories announced, I do hope that we happen to get an accessory set for maybe some oddball stuff, don't quite know what that may be, but specifically, I would like to see some happy head sculpts, maybe something that's joking around, especially for Mikey. Definitely could use some other expressions for the turtles. And if you want some accessories or other effect parts, you know I got videos to help you out with your turtle display. Now let's go ahead and move on over to a size comparison where Leo is alongside Shredder here, just because I have a feeling a lot of folks are going to be picking these two up, and I think these two go very well together because we have the leader of the Turtles and the leader of the Foot Clan. Cool. They size up very well. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Generally speaking, I do think Leo looks very good. I do like the darker color scheme. He does have a black shell, which I don't necessarily know if that is 100% accurate to the Playmates figure, but that's just fine because it works very well for Leo. Is this a perfect figure? No, I don't necessarily think that there's any such thing as a perfect figure, but I do think that this is very good, especially for the price point of about $45. I do think you are getting your money's worth, and I do think that this is an improvement over RAF. RAF, I am very concerned with moving him because the joints are very tight. I don't have a single concern here moving Leo. Very good. If you're going to pick this guy up, just keep in mind that, well, unfortunately, he sold out a lot of retailers. So if you're going to get him on the aftermarket, keep in mind he's about $45 at retail. This is not going to be a $100 figure. Go in with good expectations that that was the original price point. You should be happy. Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.